scandal, huh?
Welcome, everyone. Reporting live from the House of Ideas. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Marvel.
That's it.
Yeah, reporting live from the House of Ideas. Today, we're gonna be talking about a bunch of stuff, including a lot of comic book news. So, for those that don't know, every year comic book retailers have this their own convention, which must be wild because they never post any pictures. Like, I don't know what goes on there. It must be some like eyes wide shut level shenanigans.
Put everybody's cell phone in like a little bag.
Yeah. It's always in a different city because I assume they always get like banned from whatever city they was last in.
Yeah.
When I go to my comic shop, when I go to Titan, like this week, like I noticed Jeremy's not there, and I'm like, oh, he must be at the thing, but I don't know if I want to ask.
But if he comes back with a new tattoo, then you know.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so we're gonna be talking about all those announcements. A lot of really cool stuff. Very exciting. For all those people that say comics are dead, like, pay attention to the news. Pay attention to the news, please.
I don't even understand that at all. Like, there's nothing. Like, I feel like sales are up. Like, what are you? Yeah.
Well,
what are you even looking at?
Maybe the comics you like aren't, dead, but
Yeah.
Because there hadn't been an issue of Cyberfrog in 4 years. Like,
yeah, it's a deep cut because 3 people know about that.
Yep.
I understood that reference.
No, all right. We did see. So Clay wasn't able to join us last show, but we did get a new clip out of it that's been added that we'll use whenever, especially whenever you guys get a chance to see Captain America: Brave New World. When everybody gets a chance to see it, and we all do it.
Yeah.
We got this.
There's a new Marvel out that's supposed to be nuts. We should go see that.
So we're gonna use it. We get it at least 3 times this year. With Captain America, with Fantastic Four, and with Thunderbolts. Is that all the Marvel ones?
Oh, we can use it for Daredevil.
Oh yeah, we can for sure. But yeah, that was great. That was the best thing out of come out. I mean, that friendship movie looks insane, regardless. But I am very happy that we got a clip out of it. That way we can mix it up. That way we can keep Harry Styles for like the other movies that are not Marvel.
That are like movies that you like go to the theater and it's a movie.
Exactly. Matter of fact, I should dub over the Tim Robbins saying Marvel and just say a DC for Superman, and then just have a separate clip. Like,
yes,
like really bad ADR though, like where
make sure everyone has access.
Okay. I think it'd be funny if you put the Harry Styles and that back to back. So you have Harry Styles say his thing, and then immediately, hey, there's a Marvel movie.
Like he's talking to him. Yeah, let's try it. Let me see. Where's Harry? Where are you, Harry?
We're gonna do some live production on
That's
the
right.
air.
There's a new Marvel out that's supposed to be nuts. We should go see that.
You know, my favorite thing about the movie is like it feels like a movie. It feels like a real go to the theater, film, movie that you kind of the reason why you go to watch something on the big screen.
It's better if Harry goes first and then it goes.
Yeah, I think so. You're right. I agree.
I don't think we will ever see him in a Marvel movie ever.
Again?
Not since Star Fox, that one appearance. I don't think they're ever going to revisit that.
He'll be back. Star Fox will be back.
There might be a 15-second cameo in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
He's the first death in Secret Wars. And nobody cares.
Nobody invited him.
Who was that guy? Thanos' brother? What?
There's a lot to explain too with that guy, right? Like you're like, wait a minute, he's not purple. Like, I'm not saying he has to be purple, but like,
yeah, he's also one of the horniest superheroes. Like,
yeah, he's
that dude is down to clown in the Avengers mansion.
I wonder who's horny.
They all are.
Maybe we should I'll do a poll in the channel. Maybe who is hornier, Star Fox or Corsair?
Oh shit.
So I was gonna do
Star Fox is like, I mean, his
whole
name
thing is just
Superheroes,
like,
right?
So
yeah.
I feel like Star Fox is more open with his sexuality, so like
Yeah.
whatever. Whereas Corsair feels a little bit more like no, it's got to be a female of the species at least, like no matter what the species is, like
Yeah,
you know.
but he's like down with aliens. It doesn't matter,
he's,
he's like not limiting himself to Earth.
Oh no, for sure. I mean, I guess we could also put Star-Lord in that category, right? I think this latest version, specifically the after the Guardians movie, like he got a little hornier than I remember from those old comics. So
He
maybe
starts
that'll
off.
be
He starts off with a girl in his ship. Then he has to talk about the Oscavarian he slept with. That's the only thing Drax identifies with him. And then he's trying to get with Gamora. I mean, like, yeah, Star-Lord is pretty horny just in the first film.
We'll get the R&D folk on that. They get us an answer later on.
You don't ever want to chart the Avengers and their partner swapping, because it's pretty intense. Like I was going over some of the things. I was going to do a post for Valentine's Day for like TikTok or whatever, and I just ran out of time. But I was like, well, wait a second. So if you like chart like Tony Stark's relationships, Black Widow's been around. I don't want to shame anybody. Like, love is love.
That sounded pretty judgy, Jeff.
But I'm just saying that
Tony does brag about it being the top 12 Maxim models. Like, it's not like we know what it is.
But Black Widow has been in a relationship with Hawkeye, Tony, Winter, Bucky, and Daredevil. And then Daredevil has been, so like you could like literally just be like, oh, but Hawkeye's also been with Wasp.
I feel like Hawkeye's the center. Like you start from Hawkeye and just expand out.
Yeah. Like I think it might be a little messy in the Avengers Mansion. That could be like one of those reality shows, honestly.
Hawkeye was with Mockingbird, and then she became a Skrull, and then returned to Earth as Bobby Morris, and then they got divorced. Like they had a whole weird drama with Skrulls.
I remember.
And Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew.
Yeah, there's an issue where they all show up. I think like all his exes show up, right?
Yeah, that's all in the Fraction run. It's so great,
really good. Which we'll talk about maybe a little bit of that in the news part of this.
That's right.
All right, now that we got the horny out of the way, let's get into the show. Let's start with the. I think we probably all watched. Did everybody watch the SNL 50 thing? We can start there. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was so good.
I didn't see it on your notes, but so I only watched the thing on Sunday. I didn't go back and watch the concert. I will say, like, the musical part of SNL is usually something I fast forward through when I'm watching. I know I'm just not a big music person overall. Like if it's
that concert thing was nuts though. Well, first off, they do have like some comedy sketches in it, so I think if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, but that musical concert, like just the amount of talent in the room at that time is so insane. It was like watching the Grammys and the Oscars all in one kind of thing, because it's just like there was so many famous people. Like everywhere the camera turned, you're like, oh, there's Tom Hanks, there's Martin Scorsese. Like it was just nuts. It was insane.
Yeah. Martin Scorsese cinema over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the SNL 50 thing, which aired on Sunday, which was really funny, and I don't know if I get why it happened on Sunday. That's like prime time for TV, right? But it is funny that a show called Saturday Night Live would celebrate their 50th anniversary on a Sunday. It was very entertaining, like all the way through. Like I think that the timing was great on a lot of these things. They didn't dwell too long on some of the bits. Do you guys have any standout sketches from that show?
Black Jeopardy and Eddie Murphy playing Tracy Morgan next to Tracy Morgan, who's trying so hard not to be Tracy Morgan.
That was really good. I mean, I think Black Jeopardy is always good, especially when Tom Hanks shows up.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that one's really good. I love the alien abduction one.
Yes.
Uh,
Meryl Streep showing up.
I mean, you have Woody Harrelson and Pedro Pascal playing like these real chill dudes, and then of course Kate McKinnon playing the character that she always plays. Like she always has a rough go of it when she's abducted, and then her mom is Meryl Streep, and she's also been abducted. Oh my god. Yeah,
I like
that
Cicely Strong's bit on Update, the girl you don't want to talk to at a party. Like I've always loved that bit. That's such a funny thing.
And then she's having a baby with uncle,
A drunk uncle.
Drunk
right?
uncle, yeah.
Not my Captain America. When he said that, it fell out.
You know who I'm surprised that we didn't see. Maybe this, I don't know if this was at the concert, but the character that recommends these clubs, what's
Stefan.
Oh, Bill Hader's thing.
Yeah,
he has like high anxiety. Like he made a statement. He was like, I would love to go. His anxiety just wouldn't let him be there.
Okay. That's
so he was just like, yeah.
But
he did do like some pre-tape stuff, like for like they did like that Californians commercial with the whatever car, I think Volkswagen or whatever.
Oh yeah,
so he was in that. So like I think he was just like
so when I watched it on Peacock, it was crazy because I mean, first of all, there's like 1,000 ads, but all the ads were those like SNL partnerships. Like,
yes,
so I was like,
T-Mobile.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, is this a skit? Like, because they do that all the time. They even had a whole segment on their commercials, right?
Yeah.
I was like, is this the first one that I saw was the one where Bo, Wen, and Sarah Sherman are in a band or something, and they have dandruff, and it's like a
dandruff
Head and Shoulders commercial. And I was like, is this still a bit? Like, I don't know how to tell. So,
but that's like the smartest way to do because that's almost like old school, like you just bring the product out on stage with you and just do the commercial live. Like it's basically that kind of, it's almost a throwback idea.
Now,
to which I'm like, why haven't you pivoted to that a long time ago? Like if everything's going to streaming and we all hate commercials now,
make the commercials funny.
Make the commercials good. How about that?
Yeah.
Like, crazy.
It was. I mean, the only problem is that when you have a 3-hour show, like they're gonna repeat. So like I saw that dandruff commercial like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, it was funny the first time.
I already bought your product.
Yeah.
It's so weird because like the comedians on here used to be considered punk rock, and now it's like they immediately get some sort of advertisement endorsement deal because they're at Saturday Night Live. So it's changed a lot.
That's right. Can you imagine Jim Belushi like getting pulled into some kind of ad?
John Belushi. John Belushi is a completely different monster.
Sorry, but he was also on SNL, right?
He was on SNL, but
I meant what I said.
I can't imagine.
Now.
I actually prefer Jim Belushi on SNL. No, I'm just kidding. This is Clay's like, what?
I'm more of a Jim guy.
They would have. Oh no, Clay's left. That's the end of the show, guys.
There it is.
They would do like. Can you imagine them trying to talk John Belushi into doing like a Honey Nut Cheerios commercial in his honeybee outfit? Which was a big crux of the SNL movie. If you haven't seen it, the Saturday Night movie, like him getting in, because I guess that was one of the first sketches they were going to do on that show. Like convincing John to get into the bee outfit was a whole plot point and a half.
That early SNL must have been nuts. Like,
so apparently they aired it on Saturday night. They aired that and some other thing. They aired the first episode on Saturday night. I didn't watch it, but apparently that's what they did. So I guess that's nice.
It showed up in their YouTube feed if you want to watch it there too. I
like the Sabrina Carpenter, Paul Simon their song that I guess is originally somebody else was with Paul Simon doing that song, right?
George Harrison.
Yeah. And then which one of the Beatles was it that showed up?
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney. That's
when
right.
the show started, all 4 Beatles were alive, and now there's only 1 Beatle left.
That's crazy.
No, Ringo's still alive, isn't he?
There's 2 Beatles, right?
Oh,
Ringo's
alive.
Damn. Clay's
I
over here
forgot about Ringo. Peace
Clay
and
was about
love,
to
peace and love,
disrespect.
Ringo. Peace and love.
Yeah, Ringo's just supposed to be left alone now. I mean, I guess he's dead.
I did kind of I would have totally undercut the feeling of it, but it would have been funny if somehow they could have worked in the Lauren finally brings out the check to Paul.
Yeah,
because there's that one very famous episode where Lauren comes out on Weekend Update and offers money to the Beatles to come back to do a reunion on Saturday Night Live, but it's like for like $3,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
That's
like
good.
it's only 1,000 if one of you come, but if you can bring the other 2, there'll be 1,000 each.
Oh, that's a good deal.
And the story is that both John and Paul were in New York at the time, and I think John was the one watching Saturday Night Live, and he's like saw it, and he's like, "Call up Paul. Let's just head over there and see what happens." And it just, for whatever reason, it just never happened.
I mean, you know how it is when you try to get 4 people to do one thing at like last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes months of planning, and we still barely can make an event happen.
I'm just getting this show every Saturday morning at 9:45.
Yeah, no, right,
Panic.
Yeah. Can you imagine if we had to do this in person? Oh my goodness. it'd be like a twice a year show. What we need is a backer, a rich backer that would allow us to have some studio time. But you can at least join our Patreon. If you know, if that's something you want, maybe we'll make that a goal. At 1,000 Patreons, we'll find a studio and shoot a live one.
We're all in one area.
That's right.
We're all in one place.
Cool. All right. Any last thoughts on the SNL? On the SNL show? It was nice to see everybody sitting, like even the stuff that was just like the people on the chairs. Like Jenna Ortega, for some reason, was sitting next to Kevin Costner, and there was like a whole skit happening around them. So they're just like reacting to it. So I was like, so like all those things are kind of funny.
The Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, when they were just like taking questions, they're like, just so we can shoehorn in all these celebrity, whatever. Like, they're very self-aware. They knew they were gonna. It was the whole intro to the show was interesting because all the cast members were like, it's weird that we have this like black tie event, then we have to go into it and then do a show. Like how I would imagine that's very. I can't imagine the nerves that they were going through because it's like a weird reunion, kind of like theater camp. Everybody's coming back, and everybody I think wants to do their best for everybody else that's watching. But then you have all this Peacock and like, NBC just trying to push it into everybody's face. It's just such a weird kind of environment for them, I'm sure.
And the concert was weird because it was like we're watching SNL people enjoy a concert, so they would like the camera would stay on them instead of the act for like a little too long, so it was kind of been like the camera shoved in their face no matter what they've been doing this whole week.
Cut to the Lauren camp. How did he like the Little Wayne?
Amy Poehler's dancing. Amy Poehler's dancing. Get a camera on her.
Yeah, they should have rigged them up with like like how we see Iron Man in with the heads up display on the movie. Like just everybody have rigs, or that show MTV Fear, where everybody had like this camera rig on them when they were running around. I don't know if you watch that. Yeah, it's just like big camera.
I hope more people discovered David Byrne because man, he had like 2 great performances over the weekend. Like he was
seeing Lauryn Hill on stage was awesome. That was so Devo. That concert was cool. That was cool.
Very fucking cool. Yeah.
I'm a little shocked that we didn't see any Muppets. I feel like that would have been like even just as a guest, like Elmo as a guest or something.
Yeah.
Right. But who knows what? I guess Disney owns all that now, so like maybe they're like, no, fuck off.
Yeah, we don't want to see Elmo on the church lady. Getting roasted.
Seeing Alec Baldwin back on TV was interesting. surprised.
He's been back since. He's been back since all his.
I hadn't seen him on a live thing. I guess I've seen him on like some other stuff, but
I think he did a live opening this year.
oh,
Yeah, he's been playing.
I don't really watch
bits.
the show anymore unless there's somebody that I really want to see.
Yeah, this year's been kind of weak, but there's a couple of good sketches.
The Ariana Grande one was really good. I thought.
Oh, My Best Friend's House.
Oh yeah,
that video is great. The music is great, and the premise is so dark. I love it. It may be like a top 10 sketch for me.
It is funny now that there's 50 years of SNL. You can kind of. It's funny to watch who Lauren's favorites are, because obviously they're the ones that he keeps inviting back. So like over the years, he's like, oh, he loves Tom Hanks, obviously. He loves Alec Baldwin, and now you're like, oh, he loves Timothée Chalamet. He loves Sabrina Carpenter. He loves, it's interesting to see the different generations of people. He's like, no, you can come back anytime.
I'm glad Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock like settled all their stuff with SNL. Like feels like for a long time they wouldn't go back. So that it's always good to see. I feel like it's always good to see them on an SNL thing, like a skit or something, even if it's just for a little bit. Miles Teller got a lot more airtime than I would have figured. Like that was weird.
There were unnecessary people there, and one of them was Miles Teller, and the other one was Kim Kardashian. Like the fact that she got to be in one of the funniest sketches, kind of wrecked the sketch at the end. I was just like, this sucks.
Especially when they acknowledged that it was Kim Kardashian, right? Like they broke because she was supposed to be one of the sisters, but like then you acknowledge that it's her. So like, I don't know. Yeah, that was weird.
Oh, and Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds starts his rehabilitation tour.
Yeah,
here.
Good place to start.
Who cares?
So, all right. Well, there you go. That's your SNL minute. That's your weekend update.
Minute.
That's your weekend update. Speaking of, sorry, the one last thing. Bill Murray doing the list on Weekend Update. I didn't even know I had to Google it. I didn't know he had a brother.
Really? You didn't know
all his movies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, maybe I knew. I just not like something that I knew immediately. I was like, wait a minute, is this a bit?
His brother's more of a writer. He helped to write Caddyshack because that was based on his life as a caddy.
Yeah. So, but that list was really funny, and I think it's overall feels true, like most of it.
Yeah.
I thought the funniest bit was the Michael Shea list.
Yes.
But like, Dennis Miller, Norm, like they were all
they're top tier.
I think most of the people that have sat at the Weekend Update desk are just like some of their best. And that's why they make it to host the desk. I always love watching clips of Dennis Miller on there because I'm like, first of all, great head of hair on that man. Like he just had an amazing head of hair. But yeah. I was like, how did it stay up like that? I don't know, but yeah, he's always got a really good delivery.
Who saw where he would go, going from like where he used to be politically to where he is now.
Yeah.
There was like, I don't know, maybe just because I'm old, but there was kind of this twinge of melancholy I felt throughout the whole thing also, that it was like, you're old, like, and people die kind of thing throughout the whole weekend as well.
Yeah.
Because they did, obviously they talked about, John and Gilda and Norm Macdonald, like all the ones that Phil Hartman that have passed away over the years. And then just seeing all those like old musical acts that, when they like Devo and stuff, I'm like, it's so weird to watch old men rock and roll. Like, it's just so weird. Like,
Adam Sandler's song was like heartbreaking.
That's what I was going to say. Right? Yeah. When he gets to Farley, you can just feel the room go quiet.
Yeah. It like one of the podcasts I listened to, shout out Austin Daniel podcast, they recently did Tommy Boy. And I'm like, I need to revisit Tommy Boy, which I prefer over Black Sheep, but I think a lot of people like Black Sheep better. I don't know. You guys let me know.
I think it's Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy. Yeah. Okay, good. And then Adam Driver in the hot dog outfit for the heroin and hot dogs.
Yes, that was so good.
See, he's another one I think Lauren really likes because he starts coming back, pop up all the time.
I love that. What's his name? He just sat down. There was just Pete Davidson Like he started. Oh wait, what's the name of who am I thinking of? He's in Tommy Boy as well.
Yeah, I know. David Spade.
Something maybe.
David Spade, where he's like, I got the gist of the musical number. He's like,
I was like,
huh? I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna
that's so David Spade too. Like,
really
so
good.
on character for him.
They should have gotten Robert Downey. I guess they can't afford him. Oh, Beverly Hills Ninja, real MVP.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I haven't watched that in a long time.
Sometimes I'm a little wary to go back and watch those movies because, like, for the most part, I think a lot of the jokes are lighthearted, but I bet there was a few that was like, oh my god, I don't know this looks like.
Like I said, like when I revisited Arthur and they had that dark joke about the prostitute, like the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh shit, I remember the 80s way differently. Like,
yeah, especially Beverly Hills Ninja, just like the subject matter of it, like feels like maybe, you know. But yeah, that's great stuff. We should have a Chris Farley show in the future to talk about this stuff. All right, let's move on because there's a lot to talk about. Let me touch on a few things that I watched this week. I finished Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. We have a video on the channel for that. So I did 2 videos, one for the premiere, one for kind of like the whole season. I really like the show. I think if you're a fan of Spider-Man, it does this weird thing where it walks the line of like, this show was gonna be an MCU tie-in, but then now we have the freedom to do whatever we want. So like, let's just bring in like all these weird things from Spider-Man. Like, if you guys remember the Identity Crisis issue of Spider-Man, where he has all these different costumes, like we see a bunch of those in the show. The unicorn shows up as a villain, and I'm like, I had to Google who the hell is the unicorn. And those are deep cuts. Like the people that are writing this show, like they know their Spider-Man shit. So, and it's already been greenlit for like 2 more seasons. So like, I hope they have a plan. I think once you get used to the animation, which ended up working because to me it feels like comic book pages kind of brought to life, like the next step from a motion comic into this. Like it's a lot more fluid than that, but
wouldn't it be nice if they actually used a John Romita style or an actual comic book style and then adapted it and had that artist paid for using their style in a comic book type storytelling?
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, I'm just going based on what they gave us, Clay. I'm sorry,
yeah.
I can't.
I know it's just that the art in it is so soulless when you've seen these characters done in such cool, dramatic ways, and here it just looks like a bad marionette.
I think it looks better than that. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I mean, like I said, I got through the whole show, and there's a lot of sequences that are very fluid and stuff like that. And then at the end, like the credits, they show you like all the character designs and all how like not just for Peter but for everyone. So that's kind of cool to see. And then the people working on the show, like, you know, I've seen some of them on social media, and they were very excited that they get to keep telling the story. They reveal that Spider-Man's going to show up sometime in the future because they released a sketch, like a design for the character. Maybe we'll see Miles in this one. I don't know. I don't know how much control they have over all that stuff, but I think it's a fun show. It's good. It's got good heart, and Peter's not. He's not like a loser on this one. Like Peter himself has friends, and and he's doing well in school, and he's smart, and he's acknowledged for that, and
he's not woke.
You know, I mean, well, I mean, if I had to rate the show, I guess it seems
pretty woke to me.
If I only had to if I only had 2 buckets, and one of them was, you know, if it's it was not a sliding scale and it's just a binary choice, like, then I guess we'll have to put it in the W.
Somebody's got to teach the voice actor what words mean.
You know, it's funny because like that was one of my problems with the show. Like he's sometimes trying to do a Tom Holland voice and sometimes he's not. And I'm like, just don't do a Tom Holland voice because
make it your own.
Not the MCU anymore. So
yeah.
But I recommend it. 10 episodes. They're like 22 minutes each. Like
I just don't like the way you describe Peter Parker kind of having this good life, because I always believed that across the multiverse, the Parker luck was one thing that always made Peter Parker Peter Parker.
I mean, it's good, but it's still like he still has Spider-Man problems, like, you know, being late to stuff and like letting people down. Like that's still always there.
Yeah.
But overall, like when you first meet him, like he's got friends. He's not being bullied by Flash Thompson. Like he's friends with the quarterback from the football team, like because they're both smart and they want to do a science project together. So
yeah, I guess there's different dynamics of different eras of when he had a lot of friends, when he had no friends, and I guess most of the time I read the times when he was alone, so I liked those stories better.
Yeah, I'm more of a I need Peter to be happy at some point.
Yeah, same.
Like, well, I can't handle him being a loser forever.
I love like Parker in the MCU because he's had friends, he's had the stuff to share with Ned and MJ, but like I'm looking forward to the lonely Peter Parker who's got to work this shit out on his own and figure out things. And so like what do those encounters mean? Like that's what I get excited about with Peter Parker.
Yeah, but cool, very cool show, and they've set up some really interesting things for next season, including something that I had never read in the comics. So, but I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that's gonna like. This is like the last thing that they show in the last episode, and I'm like,
Cosmic Spider-Man.
Oh,
closed saga.
Yeah. So, also, you guys know, big fan of Reacher over here. Reacher came back this week with 3 episodes. And the first episode has like a 20-minute cold open where you're like, how is like I literally said, how is Reacher gonna get out of this one? Because it goes hard. But then the rest of the episode kind of explain what's going on and they give you more context and you're like, oh.
Have you ever seen the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher movies?
I have not, and I don't think I can go back to seeing that tiny man.
I would be very, very interested in watching you watch that because I've never seen the Reacher show.
Same,
but I know there is a definite difference in size between those.
Well, it's funny. I saw a picture because in this season they introduced a character that's even bigger than Alan Rickson. So it's like Tom Cruise is like 5'7", which that's a good height. That's how tall I am. So like, but it's not. But I'm not like going to go out and kick ass. And then Alan Rickson's like I think 6'6", and then this other dude like they hired some bodybuilder that's like 7'1", and like super jacked. So like he like we haven't seen him like go toe to toe, but like I know eventually like that's what is building in this season. So yeah,
how they have how you see sometimes those like this is how tall King Kong is compared to Godzilla compared to like I want to see that, but like with like actual people. Where like we're like, how tall is Alan Richardson compared to like Shaquille O'Neal, compared to the guy that played the Mountain on Game of Thrones, compared to Andre the Giant, compared to
No, everyone's hiding their real height in show business.
Yeah.
Like, I can play 5'7" to 6 feet tall. Like just let me know.
That's my range. Show me the apple box.
That's right. Just build me some ramps. What else did I watch? I watched the first episode of White Lotus season 3. So I've never seen any White Lotus. This was my first. But the cool thing is that with this show, every season's different. So like you can just jump into it. Guys, this show is really fucking good. Like I know why people love it now. Like I get it. And the cat like Carrie Coon is in this season. Walton Goggins in this season. Like Jason Isaacs is in the season, so like it's always a stellar cast. So I want to make time to go back and watch the other ones. But I'm very excited for this one. Like we're in Thailand, which is like beautiful. Like just like all the establishing shots are like, oh, look at that. Like I don't know that I wouldn't want to go that far in the world, but it looks amazing. So
I watched the first season. I'm pretty sure I finished it.
Yeah, I watched the first two.
Well, it's time to come back home. But yeah, really cool. And then the last thing I watched, I think this is the last thing I watched. I watched a movie on Netflix called La Dolce Villa, which is about what's his name? Scott Foley. I don't know if you guys know Scott Foley. He's like a TV actor. He was in
Buffy.
He was in Buffy. I think he was somebody in the not in the MCU, in the Arrowverse as well. Maybe. I don't know. You've probably seen him in a show. If I show you a picture of Scott Foley, or if you Google it, you're like, oh, there's that guy from that show. Like I know him from a show called The Unit on CBS from a long time ago.
Oh yeah. He was in that too.
But
I feel like he's also been in some other like dramedy kind of show.
He's
other than Felicity, like something more recent.
TV actor, you'll know him.
He was in Scream.
What's that?
Scott Foley was in Scream.
I'm sure he was. Oh, wait, the first one?
No, like in 3, I think.
Oh, okay. I've only seen the first one, and that was enough Scream for me. I get it. And from what I've seen on the reviews, I think that's the best one. So like, I cut my losses there.
2's pretty good. 2's pretty good.
Yeah. But this movie is about his daughter, played by Maya Rafiko, who's also fantastic. Like, she goes to Italy because they're doing like this town revitalization project where you can buy a house for €1, and then you just got to fix it up, and they're trying to make the towns grow again or whatever. But of course, it's full of all the romantic comedy tropes, and Scott Foley's like, no, we got to take you back home, and then he meets the mayor of the town, and then he kind of falls for her, but then there's problems with the house. Like it's just like 90 minutes of like half commercial for you moving or vacationing in Italy, and then like half like maybe a renovation type of show, and then of course just like all the romantic comedy tropes. So yeah, it was nice. I was having kind of a crummy day last Sunday. Like I just woke up and I was in not a bad mood, but I just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do today, and then I threw this on and let my mind wander, and all my troubles melted away.
I would like you to come up with a game for me specifically,
just for you,
which is because I obviously I go on a weekly rant against Netflix movies. I need you to go and find a bunch of the synopses for a handful of Netflix movies, and then ask AI to write a handful of synopsis for things that could be Netflix movies, and then we have to guess which one is which. Is this a real movie on Netflix, or is this an AI?
Okay, that might not be as hard as you think. That might be something we could do.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. But that's all I have as far as watching stuff. I think I'm pretty sure I didn't get to go to the movies. I do want to watch a bunch of stuff, but the first thing I'm gonna watch, I think, when I have 3.5 hours, is The Brutalist. Is finally out on video on demand. So I'll have to carve out a week for that. All right.
I saw that the Nosferatu, the director's cut, is on Peacock now.
Oh, that's right. Ooh. Nosferatu finally hit the cock. So go get it. That's on them. I didn't call it Peacock. Like,
yeah, that's their fault.
Nowadays we gotta short everything up, right? We just call it Prime. Nobody says Prime Video. Like, so sorry.
You're either calling it P or you're calling it cock. One or the other.
I'm not calling it P because then you won't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But if I say the cock, you immediately have a picture in your head as to what it is. All right. Clay, what have you been watching?
I know you guys aren't watching Severance. I wish you guys would check out the show. It's so damn good.
I will. In my retirement, when I don't work at an office anymore.
100%. I can't do it, Clay.
It is. It hits it too well about just the soul crushing, identity stealing part of corporate work. But it is it's like, I'd love watching it because it's like Lost all over again. We've got puzzles to figure out. We've got great performances. This week, Christopher Walken just fucking kills it. I mean, it was just really, really good. We watched The Brood last night, which is a Cronenberg film I had never seen. Have you guys ever seen it?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's fucking wild. Mark Ramsey, who I used to podcast with, is a big Cronenberg fan. So he always has got some comment. He said it has just a great vibe through the whole film. And it's got like these creepy kids who have these strange faces attacking people, and this woman who's kind of sending them out in the world to attack. It's weird. It's all over the place. But we picked it up by watching it on Criterion. And Criterion has a lot of interviews. Yes, Those are the Brood. And so there's just lots of scenes of just these little children like piling on and attacking people or beating people to death with little toy hammers.
I would hate to be murdered like that, but get away from me, you freaky little kids.
Yeah, yeah. It's just the kid
kicking and punching in a tornado.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna start walking, kid. I'm gonna start walking.
If you love good bad movies, we watched a slasher film from 1989 called Iced, where all the friends go and gather at a ski resort after one of their friends had been murdered 5 years ago. They're reunited and then killed off one by one with different elements of skiing. So thus the title Iced. But it's a really fun, good, bad film. Because we were talking about it in chat. I rewatched.
Hold on. Sorry, Clay. I'm looking at some of the stills for Iced. It looks just like a bad film.
Oh, so, yeah. It's super bad. Like I'm trying to think. There's somebody. Oh, Vinegar Syndrome is putting out I believe a Blu-ray of it. But like God. The quality that's online is like a 5th generation VHS copy. Like the quality is so poor, and we watched it on Criterion, and it was still like pretty piss poor quality.
Can I read you the tagline for this movie?
Yes.
First he chills them, then he kills them.
You know what was cool though is the villain looks like the vigilante. His mask,
because of the goggles,
looks like the vigilante's mask from the 80s design, or the one that they used in Peacemaker. Yeah. And they
better or worse than Chopping Mall?
I love Chopping Mall. Chopping Mall is like top 5 for me. So it's never going to outdo Chopping Mall. Okay. Plus, that has Barbara Crampton in it. She's a goddess. But like this film was just so weird because of the kill. They put the mask that looks like Vigilante's mask on the camera, so you have this like killer cam look because it's like got a red visor, but it's cracked in it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, like who is in this movie? And it said, who is it? Lori. I hate that I can't remember her last name, but she played Wednesday on The Addams Family. And this was her first nude scene in a movie. So it's like, oh, this is weird.
Oh, she's not even, I don't even see a Lori on, maybe, is it Lisa Loring? Oh, Lisa Loring, probably.
Lisa Loring, yeah. That's who played Wednesday.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, she does. Okay.
And then because we talked about it in chat, Ghost World. Use it the Wednesday vibe. The 80s stuff in it's great because everyone has the most 80s looks, super shoulder pads, women have the big hair. It's and like I said, it's good bad because there's a lot of weird dialogue in it.
Yeah.
Ghost World, a classic. Gonna go ahead and do a reread with rewatching the film. We need to have a whole episode just talking about it. That's my pitch. Are you not a fan of Ghost World?
I hate that movie so much because every single character is so unlikable in them. And I'm like, why? Why am I even watching this? Like the teams are terrible. The Steve Buscemi character is terrible. Like everyone is just not. Yeah, I don't. I did not enjoy. I remember why. I don't remember why I watched it.
It's a comic
book. I think I read comic books. Did a podcast. Yeah, that's what it was. They did a show on it, and I was like, oh, I guess I should check it out. Did not have a good time.
Wow. Oh shit. Because I love it. I want to talk about it.
So save that for save that for an episode where I can't make it.
One of our standby episodes. The last thing I'm not sure if I want to get into it, but I almost want to get out of soapbox on this. We watched the trailer for Crazy House. This was the Nick Frost film that's kind of a horror movie that takes place in like the TGIF TV world. Like he's in a show that's in that kind of like Full House type setting.
I saw a trailer for this movie.
Yeah, we watched. I thought we did.
We watched it here.
Yeah,
we
watched it. Yeah.
This movie is so bad and misses on so many opportunities that you get angry at it, and you're like, "What? Why does this even exist?" So the premise is Crazy House is like a 90s TGIF show. So you're watching it from the beginning with like canned laughter and everything. But the Nick Frost character is playing kind of a riff on Bernie from the movie Bernie, that Jack Black played the character who murdered the woman he was taking care of. And then Alicia Silverstone looks like Kathleen Turner in Serial Mom. But that's about it. They just kind of steal their looks. It's a bunch of, the story's not good. Like, they invite someone to come into the house to fix the house. They keep trying really hard to riff on something, but it's usually like, well, what if we had a scene where this happened? That's kind of the way the script was written. Like, they try to outdo the stunts in each element. Like, there's a scene where they shoot a dog like unnecessarily. Yeah. It's done for like laughs. And you have Eric from Entourage playing Jesus that Nick Frost talks to on occasion. Yeah, exactly. Very white Jesus. As he starts to lose his mind, as these people who've taken over his house, are Russian, and his last name is Christian, and they're good Americans, and he tries really hard. But then there are just scenes of just debauchery that don't really play into anything, that are dumb. Like, I can't really even say the stuff that kind of happens in it, because I know it would just get us in trouble. So it's just bad in every way, and it's so many missed opportunities if they could have done something cool where like these guys were trying to break through the fourth wall. No, they're just looking for money and a dead body, and it's real weird. And at one point they do break the fourth wall and they start killing the audience members, but they don't really explain why that happens. Like, it just happens. Like, there's no flow to the story or purpose whatsoever. But it's really weird to watch Nick Frost kind of try to carry it all on his own as he gets beaten and bloodied, like that picture showed. Like, as he goes through all the torture, because he's like it's weird because he doesn't play like any kind of TV dad. He's almost a mixture of Ned Flanders and Homer Simpson. Like, yeah, it's weird. I don't watch Crazy House. It's like -1 star. It was a waste of my time.
I remember when we watched the trailer, and I feel like we all left like, this doesn't look good at all. So
I thought it had potential, because I thought the concept was like, here are characters that come into their house that believe that they're stuck in a TV show and they want to get out. That's not the premise at all. That they had this weird premise with this Russian family who hid some money. And so they come back to this house to get the money out of the house. But it doesn't, none of it really makes sense why, or has any sort of like, stick-to-itiveness of the story. Like, there's just dumb things. Like, they have like this smart, they have like one kid that's really smart. And the what if is like, but what if he did meth? Like, what if he cooked meth because he was so smart and cooks meth? And that just happens to him. Like, that's just, again, like, the characters do really dumb, weird things, and Alicia Silverstone does a weird scene that, like, I want to explain on here, but it just is so messed up and wrong that I'm like, why did she do this movie? Off soapbox, I gotta stop.
It was probably right before she got on TikTok, so maybe she needed the money. So
wasted potential.
With that, Jeff, have you been watching anything better than Crazy House?
Yeah, I think I have. I'm almost. I haven't. It's all bad. I'm almost caught up on Matlock. Love Kathy Bates. Love. I'm really enjoying for a network television show. Not too bad at all, my friends. Not too bad at all. It's got some pretty snappy writing in it. Really enjoying it. Also watching Mythic Quest. It's back now. I don't remember if I said that last week. Really enjoying Mythic Quest. Also, what's his name was on Hot Ones this week. Also, I watched that. Rob McElhaney. Rob McElhaney.
The one that's not Ryan Reynolds.
The one that's not Ryan Reynolds. Do you guys watch Mythic Quest?
I do. I am up to date with it. I think they did a murder mystery episode recently,
so good.
Which I feel like it's gonna be their like out of the box episode for the season.
Yeah,
maybe.
It felt like the out of the box because usually you open up in the office or whatever.
Yeah,
I had been watching, but the end of last season was just sort of like him and Poppy, and I was just kind of done with that storyline. I really don't care anymore, but that seems to be the major storyline. So I just don't know.
I love this new season. Yeah, it keeps up with them, kind of their relationship.
Yeah, so
I mean, their shows. I think their relationship is the whole driving thing behind this show, so it makes sense. But yeah, I like it. I think it's really funny. I like a lot of the side characters. Danny Pudi is really good. Like the way that he's been kind of moved around as a character is really good. And then just like all the side characters kind of evolving, right? Like
I can't remember her name, but the assistant, God, she is so funny.
Oh, Joe. Joe's great. Yeah, Joe is.
And I've seen her in other stuff. She's always funny and stuff.
Yeah, she plays a very similar, like very intense character in everything she's in. But I mean, it just works.
Yeah,
so, nice.
I also watched a movie called Your Monster on Max. I don't recognize any of the people in it. I mean, I can list names. Let's see, it has Tommy Dewey as the monster, Melissa Barrera, Edmund Donovan. Anyway, it's kind of a rom-com. It's the main girl gets dumped at the beginning of the movie. She's also an actress, and she's staying at her mother's house, like a walk-up brownstone in New York. And so she sat at home by herself, and then she rediscovers her childhood monster living in her closet. And then it kind of turns into this weird, like, forced roommates kind of become romantically interested while she's trying to figure out her stuff in her real world. As an actor, her ex-boyfriend is writing a play, putting a play on Broadway, off Broadway or whatever that she was supposed to be in. She goes in auditions for the play. It's a whole thing. But as the movie goes places where I'm like, is this in her imagination or is this real? As it kind of keeps going along. And it ends on a very wild note, and I appreciate the movie for taking it as far as it does. The it's a solid movie. I think it follows the same tropes and beats as a rom-com does, except it just happens to have a weird monster person. It's a little like Beauty and the Beast, I guess. But yeah, it has a pretty cool ending, I think, for a movie.
Interesting. I saw it pop up on Max because I always check like what's new on their thing. And I was like, maybe. And then I saw that they also added Watchmen Chapter 2, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna watch both of those instead, since I haven't. So yeah, so I'll be watching Watchmen. I think it's only 2 parts. So
that's the animated
redo.
One. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe I'll throw on ZackSnyder's right after. I don't know.
There's a rumor about DC Studios making an announcement next week, I don't know what it is, but
and then James Gunn puts out that picture with him and Zack Snyder
and Zack Snyder, and that's what jogged my memory about it.
Oh, listen, they're just friends. I don't understand. I think Zack Snyder's got his Netflix thing, and he's just doing whatever he wants over at Netflix. They threw him a bunch of money, and he's made stuff that a lot of people watch. I don't know if they liked it, but a lot of people watched it, and that's all Netflix cares about.
If Gunn gives him like a property to do like a trilogy with, what would you want that property to be?
Dang, I don't know if I have.
Oh wow, I don't know if I have a thing. What do I want to give Zack?
Well, because I'm trying to think of what's already on the table, and then try to take that away. And also making sure that I don't say something that would anger you guys. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's time
Booster
for,
Gold.
well, that's already being developed, right, for a TV show or something. So
Yeah.
that's why I was like, it's hard. And Swamp Thing's already being done by James Mangold. So like, I don't know.
You can't do
Maybe it's time
Clayface.
for Kevin Feige to pick up the phone.
What about Lobo?
Oh, that might be a good. Oh, no, wait.
Okay, cool.
You know, if you put, look, listen, I'm not a conspiracy person, but if you connect the dots, you got Jason Momoa, who has already worked with ZackSnyder before and they're friends, and ZackSnyder, whose aesthetic always kind of goes into that whole, his whole thing is like a music video vibe, right? So like, what is the most rockingest character in DC? Like
Fucking
the main
Lobo.
man. You think we can get Brad Garrett to like ADR over Momoa's voice? I always really I mean, look, nothing against Momoa, but I always really love the Brad Garrett interpretation on the animated show.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really good.
It's great. And I was like, when I discovered that it was Brad Garrett, I was like, the guy from Everybody Loves Raymond? So
one and the same.
Damn, you heard it here first, guys. Zack Snyder is directing. Hold on, let me start again so I can clip this very nicely.
A Lobo trilogy.
You heard it here first, everyone. Zack Snyder has met with James Gunn to talk about directing a Lobo trilogy with Jason Momoa. We'll just have to figure out, see what happens.
See what happens.
DC Studios announcement coming soon, according to Jeff. Jeff's got his inside sources. Listen, we all did the research here. So there you go.
Nothing but facts on this show. Nothing but facts.
That's right. Well, I already marked that so I can clip it for later, get us some views. All right. Do you wanna roll into comics, Jeff?
Sure. I've not read everything I picked up this week, but I will go over the things that I have read. I'm going to save that so we don't step on our comic review a little bit later.
Yes,
but I did read this G.I. Joe. What is this? G.I. Joe number 4.
Yes.
Pretty good stuff. I'm enjoying it. You know what I like about the Energon universe is that your main characters, like your main leaders, heroes, Optimus Prime and Duke, are extremely flawed in this universe. Yeah. Duke is like a hothead who jumps into things and he's just like, I got this covered, and he gets them all in trouble. Optimus kind of the same way. Like Optimus, through his inaction, causes more problems than whatever.
Now, Jeff, did you read it all the way through?
Am I supposed to have looked at the letters page?
Of course,
because somebody keeps writing letters.
Somebody has a lot of time on his hands, and you see right here, Daniel M. from Dallas.
Off the bat, there it is. Keep it up, Daniel from Dallas.
Boom. Listen, all you gotta do is send them an email. They'll publish it. Apparently, I don't do anything special.
Meanwhile, at work, they're like, Daniel, where are those reports? I'm like, I'm reading. Listen,
I need to get on that G.I. Joe book.
I got Batman and Robin Year 1, number 5. Just a solid book. Mark Waid, Chris Samney, can't go wrong. I do enjoy. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say about that. Just a solid book.
Trade waiting now. So yeah.
Wonder Woman number 18. Beautiful art still by Daniel Samperi. Just the slow rollout of this story over 18 issues has been fantastic. World's Finest 36. Solid Mark Waid book. We get the Floronic Man. I don't know much about the Floronic Man, so it's good to see him pop up. And
it's interesting because they're underwater in this story. So like the
art's a little hard to follow for me sometimes.
Well, so it's Adrian Gutierrez, who we saw in Blue Beetle and the Blue Beetle book. But yeah, I think when it gets really crazy, there's a lot happening, and because you're underwater, but I like the premise. Like the Floronic Man is controlling they're not Atlanteans, they're neighbors, I guess, or whatever, and he's trying to cause war. And because of the magic in the water, the Floronic Man's stronger than normal. So like that's always something they got to contend with. So pretty good. I just jumped back on that to make a video for this week, and so I read the first 2 parts of that 20,000 League story. It's very good.
Yeah, It's really good. I read this Exceptional X-Men #6. This is my favorite X-Men book out right now. I like it because it is very much focuses in on like the mutants being an allegory for growing up different kind of thing. So there are kids in this book, there are kids in Gail Simone's book, but this one focuses way more on the kids and way less on the superheroics. Nobody has even though they kind of have costumes, they don't really have costumes. They're all just, it's almost like Cobra Kai. They're just rented out this studio and they're just Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost and Iceman are just kind of training these kids how to like cope with their powers, not really use them for anything, but just how to be aware of them and like how to use them to your advantage, kind of stuff. I like that it's also written. I don't know who Eve Ewing is like at all. Like I don't know anything about her, but I assume that she's a younger person because I feel like she definitely captures the voice of these kids. Where like it sounds like something modern day kids would be like. They're very uneasy with Emma Frost buying them everything because they're like, we don't want to be indebted to you too much because it's weird that you're like so rich and stuff. They definitely want to keep their independence and they're good about drawing boundaries, and it's weird watching the older X-Men kind of react to that because they're so in each other's spaces all the time and they're like, what do you mean you don't want to share all this information kind of thing? And they're just like boundaries. They seem very fleshed out as characters, and that's what I really love about this book.
I hope you like your X-Men books derailed by a crossover because X-Men Hunt starts next week.
Yes.
I don't know if this one is. I think this one's also part of it somewhere. So you'll have to skip one, maybe, Jeff.
Well, yeah, they got out of the last crossover event, so that was fine. And they have been mentioned in the other X-Men books. This team, so I knew it was just a matter.
It's Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost. Like you're not gonna not talk about them in other books.
Yeah. The thing I was a little upset about was they've introduced a new character who's obviously the villain. And in the end, a little graphic, they kind of give away. Oh, here it is. Who the bad guy is, because you can tell by that shadow. Yeah, it is definitely a Mr. Sinister shadow. But then they call out. They're like, spoiler. It's the bad guy is not who he claims to be.
So it's not Blackheart.
I don't think it's Blackheart.
What a shame. Blackheart's such a cool character.
Alien versus Avengers. The best part about this issue is that Mr. Sinister also pops up in here, and he sticks the face huggers in a t-shirt cannon.
That was so funny.
And so he just starts shooting face huggers out of a t-shirt cannon at people. And I'm just like, I want to see this in an Aliens movie now.
Fuck yeah.
Put that in the thump, thump.
Yeah. I love how he explains why the xenomorphs don't go after him. And like, of course he would find a way.
Yeah.
For Prometheus fans, like the first few opening pages are just for you, baby. We got engineers on the move.
It makes me wonder if like Jonathan Hickman is like a real Aliens head in real life, where he's just like
a big old nerd.
He's like, I've watched all the movies and stuff.
Yeah.
The final comic. Yeah, definitely. The final comic I read was Godzilla Heist. I love the premise of this book. Basically, somebody figures out that if you fill the air full of neutrinos or whatever, Godzilla shows up eventually because it's like birds or whatever. Godzilla is just called to that area. So he uses that to call Godzilla to a place. Then he flies all these drones to get Godzilla to where he wants to go. Godzilla crashes the place. Then he goes and robs something nearby just because everybody's like running away from where they are. And so this other gang finds out how he's been doing these heists, getting around Godzilla attacks. They hire him up. But the premise for this book is so genius. I'm all in.
Yeah, it was really fun. It's like, what if Danny Ocean, instead of using an earthquake machine, would use Godzilla to distract everyone from his shenanigans, and then he could do the heist? I love a heist book. It's really good. I agree with you. I love the art style as well. Like, it just looks very cool. And very different from the cover, from either cover that we got, which is interesting as well. So.
Right. The cover looks a little like a movie poster. I think it's supposed to resemble like an old school movie poster. But
yeah, I think this one too, right? Like this is definitely like you've seen this in an Ocean's movie or I don't know.
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs.
I like that
Reservoir
cover a
Dogs,
little bit better.
that's what I was thinking. Thank you, Clay. All right, let me hit some comics that I've read, and then we'll talk. Well, Clay can hit us with his, and then we can go into the news or comic review. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Ultimate Wolverine #2. He's the best of what he does, and man, this book is so good. Just really, really good stuff. I'm really enjoying it.
Benjamin Percy writing that?
No, this is Chris Condon.
Oh, okay.
From like That Texas Blood.
That Texas Blood.
Yep.
Good stuff.
But yeah, this one's good because in this universe, the Wolverine is kind of like the Winter Soldier for the Rasputin family, who controls the world of like that Euro Russia era. It's all, I mean, it's complicated if you haven't read the Ultimate stuff, but it's still a really good book. Also, one of my favorite things that came out this week, Zatanna has a new book. It's all done
cover
shiny.
Done by Jamal Campbell. Here's the main cover for that. I really liked it. It focuses on her kind of going back to show business, but then like her crew starts getting taken into another dimension. So she's got to go get them. It's very, very cool. Like Jamal Campbell is doing everything, writing, art. So I'm sure this has been in the works for a little while. I also picked up this other shiny cover. Just because. Also, I read Let This One Be a Devil. And I only know what this is about because of what we do in the shadows. This is a story about the origin of the Jersey Devil. So I mean, that's all I've got. I mean, there's more stuff in there. There's a family involved and all that, but Steve Fox and James Tynion are writing this. And what's his name? I forget. I just read a book. Peter Kowalski, who I wanted Josh to be on this episode because last weekend I read Where Monsters Lie, Volume 1 and 2, that book about the serial killers or the slashers that all live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
But it's the same artist from that, which I recommend those two books. The last book I read, Storm #5. This is a One World Under Doom tie-in, so I picked it up for that. Man, Lucas Wernick is doing some like the concept of the book it's like really weird because there's some stuff with like the Void and Eternity and the Living Tribunal, like stuff that I'm not really caught up in. But Lucas Wernick is just doing some like fantastic art. Like I was like, I don't even care what the story's about. Look at that. But it does be pretty cool once you get into it.
I have a friend who loves Storm, so I've been picking up the series for him. But I've not been reading it. But I usually flip through it before I give it to him, and the artwork in it is just so beautiful. Like it is it's beautiful story. I have no idea what's going on. It does look insane what's happening in that story. I have no idea what really is happening, but the artwork, especially the last issue, because he like drew a new dress for Storm to wear because she goes to visit Dr. Doom.
God,
and you can find pictures of it online, but it's so great.
I'm glad that Marvel loves Storm because that means we get more Storm. Like whoever Sapolsky or whoever's running the X-Men, like I think it's Tom Brevoort now. I don't know. Like keep the Storm coming. And then I'll show you two books just real quick. I didn't read them yet, but I've been picking up New Gods, and I forgot they were doing these acetate variants. So like when you open it, there's a hold on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So this is #2, which I hadn't picked up, but then because #3 came out this week, which #3 has probably my favorite cover. Make sure you can see that. So that's it's Mr. Miracle. Oh, Jesus Christ. But then when you open it, you see Scott behind it. So yeah, I love these acetates. It's probably one of my favorite gimmicks in comic book covers. Like I love foil, but like man, an acetate like that shows me because it's like you're getting two covers in one, right? You're getting the thing you see, and then you get to see the thing behind it, and it's usually a surprise. So, all right,
more interesting covers, guys.
More interesting.
I'm not a huge fan of the variants because I'm old, and I remember when variants used to mean something, and now there's 4 variants for every issue.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of slowly coming back around on it. Because there's just, I guess, a lot of artists that need work. But also, I am glad that they are like mixing it up with like the kind of things they can do. Like bring me the old Shadowhawk fold out cover. You know, where's the old like start going, do what's the Wolverine 50 with the claw marks that everybody has a ruined copy because they keep tearing the covers, you know.
Oh, the die cut,
the die cut stuff.
Yeah.
Give me more of those. That's what I want. Also I also picked up New Gods. I started reading it, I haven't finished it, but if Rom V and Jonathan Hickman ever get together on a story, my mind is just gonna like be somewhere out there.
That's
like,
where we like my brain's just gonna melt and start pouring out my nose.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Wolverine, Clay, what have you been reading?
I was able to score a bunch of.
Let me take a Segway King celebration there.
I've been able to score like some of the Jason Aaron X-Men and the Wolverine, or Wolverine and the X-Men run, and finish the first two volumes. I love Jason Aaron's work and love Chris Bachalo's art, so this is perfect. And then this also has Nick Bradshaw picking up Chris's slack, because I know he can't always do a monthly book, and I hate that because I love his artwork so much. But it's Aaron's take on the X-Men is just what if Wolverine and Kitty were the headmasters, you know, and what would the school be like? So it's like the whole first volume is just 4 issues of the first day and all the stuff they're going through. So it's just he just likes to do hijinks. That's pretty much what this book is. So it's just fun with great art. Like, even though there's different artists, it doesn't disrupt it. So I really love that part of it.
They at least stay on for an arc. Like, whatever little storyline you're doing, it's the same artist. So it's not like they're switching every issue or anything like that.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of consistency at least.
But
there's so much fun stuff in that first arc for them to draw, like Krakoa being on the school grounds and all the little Nightcrawler imps that just keep popping up and stuff. Just so much to look at.
The Bamfs. It seems that Aaron was influenced by like post Claremont Byrne stuff, because it seems to like want to have fun with it, and I feel like that fun that after Days of Future Past, like you had Kitty's Fairy Tale, you had because that's what I got the vibes of Bamfs from those interdimensional characters that look like Nightcrawler. But it's just a fun book. Like, it has fun things in it. Like when you have an expedition of Wolverine going out with Quentin Quire, you're like, what could they get up to? And they just go gambling to win money to help keep the school. like it's, you know, like you would think Jason Aaron would take Wolverine on like a killer mission or something, but it's like this is his School of Gifted Youngsters book. So it's just going to be fun and hijinks.
And they introduced so many cool characters. Like Kid Gladiator is one of my favorite characters that shows up in this. The little mutant Brood.
Brew is so good.
The best boy.
Yes.
If you like Neil from Skeleton Crew, you're gonna love Brood from X-Men and the Wolverine.
Yeah, I know this is like an older run, but I was able to collect it, and I had never read it. I had been trying to build the issues up for a long time, so just the fact that this whole set was together, so I'm really enjoying it.
This was out when I started reading, like back in 2012. Like this was the ongoing, so I went and catched up and caught up, and it's probably my favorite X-Men run, because I think there's like 50 issues or 42 issues on it, and they're all great. Like every arc, every single issue is great. Then they reboot it into they do a volume 2, and then unfortunately that's not as good. But just that Jason Aaron run with all those people that you were talking about, Clay.
Yeah,
it's just so much. Like, I love Skull Shenanigans. I was hoping that Strange Academy would be kind of that, and it's part of that. It's some of that. It's just not the same. Like, I feel like Strange Academy is a little more serious, whereas this one's just like fun shenanigans. Like, there's stakes, but there's still overall just fun shenanigans.
Like the Hellfire Club is run by kids now. Like, you know, what are they going to do? But they are up to hijinks. So.
Those kids, man, they are the worst.
And then what I've been reading too is from I was able to score a cheap copy of the Cataclysm of Kang for the Multiverse Marvel Gang. game, and I want us to play this somehow online and do it as an episode, because it's broken down into 6 chapters. So there are 6 different sequences that you could just play individually if you just want to play through it that way. You use characters from another universe, so you can either use a hybrid version of a character you like or create your own, and then like have them level up through it. So yeah, a good Kang adventure, and I'm still like in the middle of it, but it's like I want us to somehow figure out how to play on here and have like a run a game for like an hour or 2.
Maybe we can ask Josh to look into Roll20, see if they have a module. I know he uses that to play his Pathfinder online.
Yeah. Their Demiplane has one for sure. So
nice.
That's it.
All right. So Clay, I'm gonna give you the choice since you got a hard out in 15 minutes. Do you want us to talk about some comic news, or you want to do the Godzilla thing?
Comic news.
All right, let's get into it. So we'll do that. We're gonna save the review till the end, see if we get to it. I want.
Or should we do it now before I take off?
No. Let's do. Well, I rather, if you want to talk about news, I'd rather talk about the news because there's a lot to talk about. Yeah. And then if there's anything, so I'm gonna start with one thing that I want to talk about. But if there's any news, you specifically, since you're leaving in a little bit,
you're hitting the story I want to talk about.
Okay, cool, excellent. So we got a bunch of news, and this is before even the COMICSPRO convention. So COMICSPRO, like I mentioned, is a convention for retailers where they just talk about where the comic book companies tell them, here's all the stuff that we have coming for like the summer, and later on, like get excited, sign up for our books, all that stuff. But before that,
our stuff,
we got a post on Instagram from creator Donny Cates. Now, of course, Donny Cates has been MIA for a little while because of his own personal things. But he just wanted to check in with everyone to let us know he's coming back. And I'm very excited. I don't know what he's going to be doing. Obviously, he hasn't made any announcements or anything. I'm just very happy that we're going to get Donny Cates books.
Do you have a dream book that he would do for? We'll just do the major 2.
Oh man, I kind of want. So Donny Cates, I think, was kind of the leading force behind all this Ultimate Universe stuff.
Yeah.
So I would love for him to take over, like maybe an Ultimate Venom, since his Venom run. Like I don't know what Stegman's doing, but if he can wrap up, if he can take a break from the X-Men, maybe.
Ultimate Venom, you heard it here first. I think that's the project.
Very cool, because he could build Venom from the ground up, right? Which is what these Ultimate books are.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool. So I don't know. Do you guys have any choices?
I don't know if you can top that, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed his Thor stuff. I enjoyed his Hulk stuff, his Doctor Strange. I'd love to see him do but again, it's like just revisiting what he's done. So it's always that challenge of outdoing it. But I like rebuilding Venom from the ground up.
Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but like I would love to pitch an Ultimate of Hulk book, but there's already the Hulk's already been pretty well established in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
There's already a Moon Knight, which I also would love to have seen Donnie do something like that. I know we were talking about a Daredevil book. That might be another thing.
They haven't really played much with like the outer space stuff in the Ultimate Universe too.
That's
so
true.
He could do we've seen the Ultimate Guardians of the Galaxy, but they're just kind of like there and gone. There's nothing really
time. Not really space. They're more like time in the Ultimate Universe, right? So they're more like the Legends of Tomorrow almost.
Yeah. So he could definitely play in that kind of
That'd be cool.
area.
That'd be cool. Because I mean, his Silver Surfer Black was fantastic.
Oh shit, yeah, that art. Oh man,
yeah, I know. I can't believe I originally didn't like Tradmore's art.
That's what I love about Donny Cates is working with people like that, so you get to discover new artists that you've never seen.
Oh, I've discovered many an artist just because they were on a book with him, like Jeff Shaw from God Country, and anyways. But yeah, Donnie, if you're watching this, we can't wait for you to come back.
Yeah, excited to talk.
Hey, we're also in Texas.
So, that's right. Yeah, I mean, he's probably one of the creators I saw the most, just because they just happen to be close to us. So he was at every convention. All All right. Now, in other news, I'm gonna start with DC because they neatly organized everything into one article for me, whereas other companies don't have that. So a lot of good, cool news. So we
I'm
have
very excited about.
multiple books have been announced, including Batman #1, new ongoing with Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We also have the Summer of Superman. We have a few books there. So we have a Supergirl series. We're gonna have Crypto, Last Dog of Krypton, and I'll talk about the creative teams there. And then a new Action Comics. So first we have Supergirl. And this is who's going to be on this team.
It's just Sophie Campbell.
Sophie Campbell, just Sophie Campbell doing it all. Oh wow,
wow,
that's pretty intense. I mean, I love an Artgerm cover, but Sophie Campbell's art, it's pretty amazing too. One series I'm really interested in because I feel like this is the summer of crypto, and not the currency online. This is going to be a 5-issue series, Crypto, the Last Dog of Krypton, by Ryan North, who we love,
Yes.
right? In the show.
We love Ryan North.
And Mike Norton.
Oh, he's awesome.
What I love about that is that they talk about how they're like, there's no cheating. So it's all from, like, you're watching Crypto, but you don't see any thought bubbles. He can't speak, whatever. So he's just like a dog. So, I mean, he's a super dog, but he's kind of like going through his daily whatever, and people around him can speak, but it's not like it's just, it's like,
is it going to be like Pizza Dog, that we get the little
like Pizza Dog? Yeah, that's kind of what I thought of, that Pizza Dog issue of Hawkeye. Yeah.
And then of course Action Comics continuing with a new creative team. Mark Waid returns to write Superman with Skylar Patridge, who's, I think this is the Skylar cover. I mean, I'm very glad. Look, listen, a few months ago when some election happened, Mark Waid said, "I don't know if I can write superheroes anymore."
I was gonna say he wrote this, and then now this.
Well, what's interesting though is this is he's doing young Clark Kent. So this is Superboy, but it is Clark Kent Superboy. So it's like a period piece, which I think, and I really love Skylar Partridge's art. I saw her art in something recently, and I was just like, "Who is this?"
She posted on Blue Sky like some designs, and I just after seeing all that, I was like, "Am I like?" I replied like, "Am I gonna rewatch Smallville now?"
Well, Mark Waid wrote. What did he write? That was like also kind of about Clark's younger days. God, I can't remember all.
Was it an Earth One book?
Did he do Earth One?
Or Birthright?
Birthright is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's very exciting. And then the last one. Let me see if they have. I mean, you guys already know. Like day one. Batman. Hold on. Also, can we talk about Matt Fraction coming back to comic books?
Yes, I'm excited.
Mainstream comics, Matt Fraction, I'm excited for. Yeah.
I wonder why though. Like, because he's doing like Godzilla stuff over at Apple. He's doing that Monarch show. Like he's working in other media. Why come back after?
Maybe he's just like, I don't want to live in California anymore. I'm gonna go hang out with my family back in Seattle, do some comics. I do get the feeling that there might be maybe because if you're reading FML by Kelly Sue DeConnick, which is very autobiographical, I feel.
Yeah.
Like there are bits in there where she has to keep calling the character in that story, who is, I feel, very purposefully modeled after Kelly Sue DeConnick, has to keep calling her husband, who's in California working on his TV show.
Yeah.
So my guess is that he's like, let me take some time away, maybe summer's off or whatever. He's like, I'm gonna go back to writing. And in that little blurb is just like, hey, I got into comics because I'm reading Batman. So I don't know how you pass up your dream job like that.
Yeah, that's true.
real quick, let me just roll back here. Oh shit! I was gonna show you guys the designs. Here we go.
Oh yeah. The Jorge Jimenez designs
No,
look
the
awesome.
Scarlet Partridge.
Oh, the
design
Scarlet Partridge
for Superman.
Oh yeah, that's
Like,
awesome.
doesn't this like I just want to like this is Smallville, right?
Yeah,
like to me, this
Smallville.
is
Yeah.
like, oh my god. So that one's very exciting. So yeah, but let's.
I love the Chucks, the red Chucks.
Oh, hold on.
Man
Let me
suit.
go back. Oh yeah,
Oh, I didn't notice those.
I do love superheroes wearing like tennis shoes. Like that's just a
Yeah.
vibe. I don't know. I feel like I don't know if my whole generation, but I grew up like I have like 20 pairs of tennis shoes compared to like maybe the one pair of dress shoes or nice shoes that I eventually need for a formal occasion. So
The wedding funeral uniform.
yeah. But let's go back. I mean, look, Jorge Jimenez. He's one of my definitive artists of this just generation, and just the fact that not only does he get to redesign the costume, right? I like that they changed kind of the color scheme a little bit. He's because he's been wearing the black and grays in the most recent stuff.
Yeah.
So changing it to the blue and grays, and then he
Back
gets
to
to
the blue.
redo a whole new symbol on the chest, which is always fun. But that's really, really cool. Like, I wish they would just keep running with the numbers. I don't care for the Batman #1, but I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
You gotta sell a lot of comics, right?
You gotta sell
You gotta
some
put it on
books.
one.
I can't wait to see the 400,000 alternate variant covers that they're going to have with that.
Yeah. Then it's not in the article, but Dan Slott is writing Superman Unlimited, maybe something like that. He's writing Superman somewhere.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I thought I saw another Superman article out there. I didn't see it.
And this is just like kind of these previews are just for like the bigger characters. So like I can't even imagine what else they're giving us later on, right? Like some of the Black Label books that they haven't even talked about and stuff like that. Is there any character specifically that you guys think needs a series right now or a new book?
No, in fact, I was thinking, with the Zatanna book coming out, I feel like DC, both major companies kind of go through the roller coaster of ups and downs and stuff. I'm just like, for the last few years, I feel like DC has really turned it around. Like they kind of, for years, DC's kind of been like no matter how you feel about them, just sales wise, you could just look at the numbers, and that Marvel was just kicking their butts for years and years and years. That's why they had to reboot, do the New 52, and then they kind of stumbled through that, and then Rebirth and whatever. But ever since Rebirth, they feel like they've really gotten their ducks in a row, and they're going full force with whatever great pitches they're getting. They're going with,
Nice.
And I'm excited to see like they've got challengers of the unknown books out there. There's a ton, like they're trying everything. As long as you got a pitch and it's good, like they're for it. Whereas I feel Marvel is kind of like, they don't. I feel like they kind of are trying the same thing, but it's not quite the same. Like they got a Dazzler book, but it only lasted a few issues. X Factor's about to end. They're about to kill NYX. They don't go all in like DC's all in has gone all in.
Who cancels quicker, Netflix or Marvel?
Oh man,
I feel Netflix.
What about Marvel or Fox?
Marvel. This is a fun game.
Clay, any character?
David Zaslav or
I love a good C or D list DC character. So
you're right. You want a Captain Boomerang solo series. I get it.
I always love a good villain story. So if there's a good rogue story in there, like I did love the rogue story they did for Black Label.
Yeah.
So
so
if we could do another rogue story just from the criminal's perspective.
The heist to Gorilla City, right? Is
Yeah.
that the one you're talking about? Yeah. Well, Clay, I may not.
I would rather read that than a Flash book with them in it.
So I'm pretty excited to see what Jeff Lemire does with the Absolute Flash and how he reinterprets the Rogues.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. But I know you almost have to step away, Clay. But let's
Yeah.
talk about this one thing real quick, because I feel like this is the big announcement for the weekend.
I'm
This
excited.
is Editor-in-Chief Marie Javits from DC Comics and Editor-in-Chief C.B. Sobolski from Marvel Comics. And they hinted and they teased and they pretty much confirmed that sometime later this year, we're going to get a Marvel DC Comics crossover. And all that was based on the success of the re-release of the DC crossover with Marvel from last year. And I'm like, wait a minute. Are you saying that you guys will just do anything for money? Yes, they will.
So what are we getting?
We don't know.
I read 2 one-shots is what I read. But I also think that that's probably just speculation at this point.
I want 80-page giants if they're going to be one shot.
Oh yeah, I want an 80-page giant. Yeah, I want another X-Men Teen Titans team up book.
I wonder if they're not going to do like old treasury size things, like 2 giant treasury size things.
That would be cool. I mean, a Superman Cap book would be great.
What do we need right now? I guess that's a good team up because that's kind of what we need to heal.
Yeah. I think Superman, Spider-Man, that's a good one.
Sorry, I'm reading this quote from Brian Posehn, who's doing some talk. Like, I don't want to say the IDW logo is ugly, but I was a cuter baby. They really missed with that new logo, but I'm excited for the implication. Like whatever happens to be this implication of this, whether it's like a new amalgam universe or just some crossovers with people hanging out. I'm excited. I like when crossovers happen that are like this big in scope, right?
Yeah.
Dark Horse in DC or like IDW and like I like to see like co-publisher crossover. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll definitely talk more about that as we kind of move forward. But Clay, I know you guys step away. Any last thoughts on any of these news?
The crossovers, I'm hyped for that. Like I don't know who it could be, but like they'll put great teams on it. So and they said what, 2 books?
2. Well, we don't know yet. That's the speculation that it's going to be like 2 one-shots. Maybe it'll be one like led by Marvel and one led by DC, and they, so we'll see. We'll stay on top of it. You guys know we're going to be talking about it on the show whenever it gets announced, whenever it's comes out, all this stuff. So
we should do a segment where we're like, well, this is what we hope we see. Where we're like, what artist do we want to see draw this?
Start working on your pitches for next show.
Garth Ennis, John McCrae, Hitman, Punisher book. See ya
later, Clay.
Love it.
All right,
love it.
We got more news to get through, so let's keep going, chugging along. Let's see what else is on here. So we got some Marvel stuff that's been announced as well. I don't know how much of it comes from COMICSPRO and how much of it is like, oh, this is a Marvel thing. But the first thing I want to talk about is this one here. We have a new Death of Silver Surfer book.
That's a beautiful cover.
Oh, I love it. It's great. This is going to be by Greg Pak with art by Sumit Kumar. And it looks like it's going to come out sometime in June. Now, like I said, I don't know if this is from COMICSPRO or not. This was just something that Marvel announced recently. So I was like, hey, let's talk about it. Because as I mentioned, they don't have everything in a neatly thing. Now, something that you brought up, Jeff. Here, let me share this tab instead. Captain America.
I'm very excited for.
Tell me about it. Tell me what gets you so excited about this.
We got Chip Zdarsky returning to Marvel Comics after his celebrated Batman run. He's writing Captain America. Along with that, look at that art by Valerio Schiti.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, and I think what's great about this is that it's a period piece. So this is just after Steve Rogers has been defrosted, is when this takes place. So I like that we're returning to Captain America chainmail costume.
Yeah.
And I think later on in this article, there's like some drawings, stuff from Valerio Schiti. But you can see the old school little chainmail in the top of that Cap costume, which is how it used to be drawn before they kind of militarized it a bit more.
Yeah. Before they
I
went
just
to
think
this one.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's like Cap defrosted right out of the ice. You get to see a lot of early Steve Rogers in the modern world kind of stories. It'll be interesting to see when time wise, like what that means to us for modern days. Is it going to be kind of like retro 60s like it was in real time, or is it going to be like he was defrosted in the 90s? That's I'm curious about that. I think, and you get to see a lot of Valerio Schiti's like other designs from. I think he has a drawing of Iron Man, and I think they talk about how Cap faces off against an early Doctor Doom. So I'm really excited about like the just one Chip Zdarsky. I love everything he writes. Cap, love Valerio Schiti. There's not really much to not like about this.
Here's Tony Stark, Thunderbolt Ross, Reed Richards. And just based on the sorry, let me go back. I mean, based on this Iron Man design, it does look like it could be like early 90s Iron Man, right? Like
yeah.
That time. And then we have Howling Commando designs, which is interesting. Like, are they gonna be following Steve Rogers? Like, do these outfits go with this dark costume, or will they be chasing after Steve Rogers? Maybe one thing I found very interesting is that before Chip Zdarsky took over Batman, he did a maxi series called Batman the Night, which kind of explore the origins of Batman and Bruce Wayne, and how he became Batman and his teachers and his travels and all that. So now that you've talked to me a little bit about the pitch of this one, like, is this his preview? Is this his pre-book before he takes over the main Captain America series? This will lay the groundwork, and then we can follow up on those things in the current continuity.
It'd be interesting, very interesting to see. I'm very excited about that. So that's a good question.
Yeah, I'm really. I mean, I'm glad Chip Zdarsky is doing stuff that he likes after Mark Waid fired him unceremoniously. So we'll see where that goes.
Waid.
All right. The next thing is Marvel has great villains, and I think they've realized that. So we have Bring on the Bad Guys, which is just another thing that's gonna be. Let me see if I can pop these up. Yep.
Oh,
so I think it's like a series of one shots where they'll just highlight some of their great villains, like Doom, Mephisto.
So Bring on the Bad Guys was one of the comic book trades back in the day where Marvel published just a bunch of a series of. They just pulled a bunch of random issues of comics that featured different bad guys, and they put them all in one book called Bring on the Bad Guys. So they are kind of reconfiguring that idea and maybe making these. I think they're 5 one-shots of Bring on the Bad Guys, 5 or 6 one-shots.
Seven one-shots.
Yeah, 7 one-shots.
Dr. Doom, Mephisto, and the new villain, Sister Sorrow, who you can see on the screen right now. That's interesting. I like it. I love bad guy stories. Like, I think Marvel, like I said, they have great bad guys. Like there's no shortage of good bad guys for them. Let's see.
When I first saw the headline for Bring on the Bad Guys, I'm like, oh, they're doing another Acts of Vengeance kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, this is kind of the year of Doom, anyways, over at Marvel. So
yeah, true.
Next, you also found this one, so you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, I thought this was interesting. They're adding Miles Morales to a new Miles Morales to the Ultimate Universe. They're doing some interesting stuff with their Ultimate Universe, I think. So they're doing I think this is a 5-part mini where 616 Miles Morales, originally from the 1610, but 616 Miles Morales crosses over to this new Ultimate Universe. I don't know if it has a number designation or not. And then we get to meet that universe's Ultimate Spider-Man as well. So there's going to be more incursions happening.
Yeah. So we have, of course, Peter, the Ultimate Spider-Man. We have young Tony Stark, Iron Lad. So he's not Iron Man in this one. Nope. He's Iron Lad. The Weapon X. The Wolverine.
The Winter Soldier.
Now this is May from the Ultimate X-Men book. This is not Storm. So if you haven't been reading that, so it's interesting. The fact that we are finally kind of putting a lot of those pieces, because the books have a lot of little Easter eggs. Like in the Ultimate X-Men book, you can see sometimes on the TV or the newspapers, like they talk about the other stuff that's going on in the other books, but they don't really cross over, right? Like we're not really they're aware of each other because they exist in the same planet, but that's just like, I know there's people in Japan that live in Japan. It's not like I'm constantly talking to them or whatever, right?
Right.
So it looks like this will finally bring us all together.
And I do feel like that, yeah, the initial pitch for the Ultimate Universe, if you go back to read the first event kind of thing that sprung the whole thing out,
yeah,
you do get the feeling that eventually the Ultimate Universe is going to go careening back into the 616 universe at some point in time. They're gonna. Yes. This will come back around eventually.
Now, one other announcement that we saw, and look, comic books are a business. So when something works, they just keep reprinting it. So Marvel has announced that they're going to be reprinting these premiere collections of a lot of their big hits. So like,
how much success DC was having with their little.
The little $10 books.
Yeah, these little whatever these are called. DC Compact Comics, the Compact series.
I mean, why wouldn't you? And they picked some really good stuff, like Wolverine, Old Man Logan. Funny enough, they're starting with 2 Mark Miller books.
And a Matt Fraction.
And Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, which this one's going to be thick because this one's like 24 issues. I wonder if they're going to do like multiple ones or I don't know.
Yeah, that's a big difference between the others because that's a lot of Hawkeye.
The other books are like 7 and 8 issues. Even though the last issue of Old Man Logan is like a double size, so maybe 9, but this is 24 issues like of a book. I don't know how they're gonna put it all together. I think that's all and I don't know if they announced more, but that's the pictures that they showed. So I mean, they picked compact 6x9, so they definitely know. Now the price point staying at $15. I'm like, come on. DC gave us Watchmen for $10. Like,
War Sectors, this is $10. I think they're all $10.
Yeah, like no matter, like a lot of the DC ones have 12 issues in them, and they are $10. So
you gotta bring in that Disney money. Listen, there's a lot of investors.
They seem to be
a lot of investors.
Size. All right. Now, I didn't find a lot of indie articles and stuff, but I did see one announcement that I want to talk about from Image. And I wish they would air some of those panels, but I guess they're for the retailers, so like screw the regular people. But James Tynion IV and Mike Walsh launching a new book called Exquisite Corpses from Image.
I love Mike Walsh's artwork.
Mike Walsh is so good. Like, like those two have been doing horror for so long. Like whether drawing. I mean, Mike Walsh did the Frankenstein book a little while ago, and James Tynion's writing like, I don't know, 30 issues of everything all the time.
Way better than James Tynion III.
That's right. So many more comics. Yeah, I'm excited for this. We're gonna get a lot of really cool covers. Let me see if we got a cool gallery, including a James Stokoe cover. I think this is James Stokoe. That's crazy. Oh
wow.
my god,
Love
that's
that.
haunting. It's very Ninja Turtles coded.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, these are fantastic. Jay Lee, of course. Jay Lee doing covers all the time. Yeah. This looks great. I'm excited for whatever they're working on.
Yeah, it's a great team up.
So, all right, Jeff, did we have any other news that you wanted to cover? Check out. I think we hit everything on the list.
Yeah, I think that was about everything I had. There was some news about Jonathan Hickman doing a comic called Imperial for Marvel, which looks like in the article that I read, they reference an old Hickman article where Hickman talks about how he's a little bummed about how the Krakoa stuff went because he was setting up something when Cannonball and Sunspot went out to space to hang out with the Imperial Guard.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be a whole other thing that was part of that Krakoa thing that he had, but they had to drop it because of everything else that was going on. So a lot of people are kind of speculating he's going to pick up whatever seeds that he left out there from that to try to do this kind of Imperial story, which has stuff to do with the Royal Guard and the Nova Corps that has been, who knows what's going on with the Nova Corps. But yeah, he's doing something with Marvel space characters coming up. So,
well, I hope that in an alternate universe, there's another version of the world where Krakoa continued to its completion, and then that hopefully one day I can travel to that multiverse and collect those comics.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Do you have a favorite thing that you're looking forward to? Like this is the one.
It's a toss up between the Cap and Batman. I think I like I love both those creators on those creative teams. I will pretty much
it's crazy. Everything. Feels like Mad Fraction, like coming out of retirement. Like, oh yeah,
right. Like, and I liked in the article. His pitch was like, "Oh, we're going back to superheroics, Batman. Yeah, like it's going to be full on superheroics." So I'm just like, I'm in.
Especially because Tom Taylor's got the detective stuff covered, like on the Detective Comic series. Like he's got that. Yeah, like I'm doing detective stuff. Like this is not world-ending threats or like big superheroics. Like I'm just trying to protect. I read the next issue of Detective for next week for my review, and there was a little thing. Not a slight spoiler, but it just happened in the book. Like one of the kids that they're protecting, like he was telling Batman, like, because the kid, like he's on the way to the hospital and he might die, so he's like, me and my friends always talk about you, and we're not scared of you. And Batman's like, well, how come you're not scared of me? He's like, because you're ours. You're from Gotham, like. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So yeah, so pick up the next issue. I mean, read Detective Comics; it's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, those two I'm excited for. I'm also really excited for Crypto. Yeah. Crypto, the Last Dog. Ryan North is.
I love a good miniseries. Like, just give me a solid miniseries that I can just inhale. Cool. All right. Well, to close out the show, I think with excellent timing, we're gonna do a comic review, and I'm pretty excited about that as well. Oh yeah, mine was Batman, by the way. Like, I mean,
oh good.
Come on, Batman #1. Are you kidding me? Especially very happy to see that Jorge Jimenez is staying on as the Batman.
Yeah, exactly. He must love to draw Batman.
That's right. Oh my god. All right. So we got a chance, thanks to our friends at IDW, to read another really cool Godzilla comic on top of the one we read this week, the Godzilla Heist. It is Godzilla spring, maybe, like we're gearing up towards spring. I don't know. There's a lot of Godzilla going on.
I've seen Marvel Godzilla stuff's coming out.
Yeah. Godzilla's having a big year in 2025. They're doing a sequel to Godzilla -1. Like the same team is doing another sequel. So as we continue Godzilla, the next logical step is for Godzilla to fight America. So we're gonna do a review of Godzilla versus America, Chicago #1. Let me give you a glimpse of the cover before we get into it. Which I was already I was super excited about this idea of Godzilla kind of like going after different cities in the U.S.
Yeah.
So here it is, Godzilla versus America. This is so he starts with Chicago. Maybe he's a big fantasy and punk. Who knows? And Godzilla finally heard that he came back to WWE. So this is the Ryan Brown cover. We have Chris Burnham. I want a whole Chris Burnham Godzilla book. What else? Tim Seeley. Yep. Yeah. So, Godzilla. Let me give you a quick synopsis, and then we'll talk about it, because there's multiple things to talk about in this book. Godzilla is coming to America, and its first stop is Chicago. Join a star-studded crew of Chicago comic creators. Oh, I didn't realize that was the theme. Okay, that makes more sense now. Throughout 4 epic stories across the Windy City. So let's get into it. So first of all, we talked about this. I didn't know this was going to be a little anthology. I didn't read anything ahead of time.
Yeah, I just dove right in and was kind of confused by the first story because it's a little dark. There's not a lot to. So I was like, what is this comic? Also, I'm wondering if that guy who I didn't really look at the creators, but the character in the first story is called Fan Ghoulie, and he's somebody who's like a parasail with a giant fan on his back, so the parasail glider. But I know Sven Ghoulie is like the TV show guy that shows like old like horror movies, a la like Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. But he has like one of those TV shows. So there's a guy named Sven Ghoulie who dresses up in costume and makeup and shows old, and I think he's out of Chicago. So I'm wondering if that creator is the creator of this story.
So that story is called Godzilla Does Chicago. It is written by Mike Costa, with art by Ryan Brown, colors by Ryan Brown and Kevin Nipstein, and letters by Brian Kolek. That was. So first of all, the fact that the story starts with like this dude that is a paraglider, like I've only seen that on The Simpsons. Like I don't know if that's a real thing, or
a real thing.
Was there like a time in the U.S. where like, oh, that was the cool thing, like the paraglider dude?
I feel like it was like one of those, like when you go to like Branson to go see one of those like shows out of Branson. It's like like water shows where people like were on like motorboats with skis and stuff, and they would stand in pyramids and stuff. I feel like it's that kind of entertainment, like along those lines.
Like,
but they used to have
and they
used to do stuff like back in the 70s and 80s where they would go around football stadiums and glide and stuff like that, which is how this starts off. The fan guy is hated by Chicago, and he kind of concocts a plan to like, make it up and become the hero of Chicago, and it goes all screwy, and he ends up killing 7,000 people in the process very casually. So that's why I was like, what is this story? And then once I realized, it's a bunch of independent creators, then I really got into the book. The last story is the one I enjoyed the most.
Godzilla vs. Chicago, by Carolyn Cash.
Yeah, I went and looked up Carolyn Cash. I'm like, I'm gonna have to look into this creator more. But
my buddy Mike's been talking about Carolyn Cash for a while.
I did look them up, and they do some kind of like some very indie comic that I've never, which makes me think I need to go out and buy more drawn and quarterly books and stuff like that.
It's interesting because it's like a very tongue-in-cheek story, where it's like it starts out very serious and then it goes into like this, like the realm of like, what is happening? What is Godzilla story?
There's a drawing in that last book where Godzilla like spins around and like little word bubbles like "rawr" or something like that, and I'm like, I need that on a shirt. Like IDW needs to print that as a poster. 100%. That is your image of the issue right there.
I think my favorite story was the Blue Line Sign. This one's done by Tim Seeley, written and illustrated by Tim Seeley, with colors by Heather Reckel and letters by Brian Kolek. Where we kind of follow a young woman who sees somebody on the subway, and they're like, "Oh, like they're kind of cute. Like I think we went to high school together, or whatever."
Yeah.
And you're just having your normal day. You see your crush on the subway or on the L train. And then fucking Godzilla shows up
and decapitates the train conductor.
Oh my god, that's a very Tim Seeley thing to write too. So
yeah, it was a pretty Godzilla definitely does some destruction in this book, but it's a very fun book. It's definitely, if you're a Godzilla fan, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, the last story that we didn't talk much about is Chai Godzilla, written, illustrated, and lettered by Ezra C. Daniels. Not very familiar with Ezra's work. I feel like that one probably took it just grabbed me the least of the four. But it not that it's bad or anything. It's just like these are all four very different stories that have different hooks for different type of readers and people. So I think, like, if you're a fan of Ezra, or like if you're a fan of that type of storytelling, like, you'll probably really get into it. So very excited for this. Like, this was so much fun. I think I love Ryan Brown doing, like, his art is so goofy. Like, if you read Lucky Devils or 8 Billion Genies, like, just the design of the parasailer dude, like with the mustache, like he looks like a little villain, almost like an old like train track tied woman to the train tracks type of villain. I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun anthology, which was surprising because I didn't know that it was going to be an anthology. So
exactly.
Okay. Any last thoughts on this?
No, I think it's, I think we said that it's good for very enjoyable, but also these kinds of books are good to, like, smaller creators' names and stuff like that. So that's why I really appreciate them.
Cool. Well, let me see. The next issue of this series is going to be Godzilla versus LA. And that one's gonna be, because I think at the end of the issue it says, but it's gonna benefit victims of the wildfires and all that as well. So let me see if I can figure out the other cities. I don't think Godzilla versus Los Angeles. So it looks like those are the only two that I see announced: Godzilla versus Los Angeles and Godzilla versus Chicago. So we'll have to stay tuned to see where else Godzilla
ends up
going to attack. So
Orlando.
Exciting stuff. Cool. Well, thanks to our friends over at IDW. We really appreciate it. All right, Jeff, to close out the show, do you have anything else that before we get out of here?
I got nothing else. I'm gonna go the rest of my day. I'm gonna go to a vintage swap meet kind of thing. So that's
awesome. Sounds good. We'll follow Jeff on Instagram and TikTok and all those places, because he posts a lot of cool videos about, like, his comics and the weird things. Did you go to Vegas recently, or was that just a video that you made?
I went to Vegas. I went to Vegas last year, like last.
Oh, okay,
summer.
okay. I was like, I saw that. I was like, we just did a show. How are you in Vegas?
No, I just had that. That was from last year.
Okay, cool. I was like, Jeff didn't, like, not that you have to tell me where you're going, Jeff, but
all right, quick 2-day pop over to Vegas.
Quick Vegas trip. I wish we had. This will always be my thing. I wish we had a high-speed rail system so I could just roll around all over the U.S. on a train.
That would be fun.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. We're very excited about all these upcoming comic books. We're very excited to see Donna Cates back in comic books as well. Matt Fraction coming back as well. Like, so many returns. It's like felt like watching the Royal Rumble yesterday. Like,
exactly.
Like, who's gonna pop out next? So, all right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
The most important thing in life will always be
Bill Bebo.
Simon Center, get the fuck out.